So last night I was at Bobby and Rebecca's house, and a few other people were over there. And so I went downstairs to play with Todd. Right? I went on purpose. Do what? Yes. Well, I have a relationship with him. I care about him. Really like him. I love him. I love him. But the way to connect with him, it's easy for me because Rob just shows up to brag ever so often and jumps in, right? That's way easier than dealing with it every day. I get that. But when Rob shows up, my role is to develop a relationship with him, play with him in the way he needs, and give my friends a break. So we had a big time last night, he and I did. So he gave me a video, like we played this little video game. This is unscripted. So, you know, I don't even know the name of the game. It's when you're fighting, like you pick a character and you fight, you know, and some of those characters like jump and spin and kick. So this is what he said. What's the name of it?
What do they do again?
They jump. I'm trying to be fun for you, right? They jump, they spin, they kick. So he gave me this, and at first I didn't catch it. He calls him Mr. Rob. He's like, Mr. Rob, you take this control. And I said, okay, because you can move up and down and only push A. I was like, yeah, I can push A. Well, so the first round, my guy was like doing this. That's all I was doing, right? And he was like doing this and flipping his person was. And I was like, what's up? And I thought about halfway, almost getting knocked out. I was like, that kid told me to only push A, right? So I let him knock me out first round. Second round, I found B and C, right? And so when I did it the first time, I pushed B, and I said, you told me to only push A. And he like died laughing, right? Died laughing. So.
And all we hear is happy and joyful sound going down
Yeah, love that kid. So anyway, so it takes work, yes. So yeah, there's a couple of you to the right questions. Can we get Bobby a mic, or Rebecca? You guys can just sit there and answer it. But there's a couple people that we were going to follow up with you. So hold on. Oh yeah, I can just throw this to you. Okay, Yukon. It may be to me or it may be to them. The questions that you had.
But it ties into
Switch.
I think I got a command voice.
No, I mean you do, but we wanted to use your microphone.
So, like operating out of sequence, I guess that's the thing. So you talked about your wife, not really a great dancer, but she probably can dance. Oh, she's pretty good. Okay, so maybe you can join the gang too. It'd be a family effort.
Family dance.
So, like in my home, like some days, like Wednesday, be like taco night. Your daughter loves to dance, and you're trying to build that connection. Maybe you can incorporate a night where 30 minutes or so, you guys dance. And you put her in charge. And putting her in charge, as you say, that's part of her, it's in her sequence, right? She like to be in charge. Just imagine how a kid, how much you can empower a child, to achieve greatness by making her feel like, hey, I'm teaching mom and dad to do something that I know how to do. And in turn, she might look superior while she's dancing, and you guys get to see how silly you guys look dancing, right? And it will build that connection. She's able to say, hey, Dad, you need to do this, or Mom, you need to do this, and it'd be a fun time. And every Wednesday or every whatever, that child will look forward to that, because now I know that on Wednesday I get to be in charge of Mom and Dad. I don't know, something I thought of.
Great. Cool. Yukon's getting this. Yeah. So last night, I let him be in charge. We played like 6 games. I crushed him a few because I didn't want him to think he could always beat me, right? But we had a blast. Like, we were laughing. I really was sweating. I was laughing so hard I was done. When I got done, I went up and like laid on their couch, laid back for like 20 minutes. But anyway, what you said is great. I know, that's right. Hold on. No, I need you to,
Becca said
hold on,
something
I want you to
that
speak.
I thought was pretty interesting. She said you looked at Todd and you got his first and last letter. Tell me how you did that. What did you observe?
Mhm.
But he, again, it's well, for me, Bobby may come up with different views, but for me, I think it's the, I want to do it now, and I'm holding you back. I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it, and don't tell me not to. So I think for me, that's where the E comes in. He's very organized on some stuff. Bobby seems to think it's only specific stuff that does, he thinks it's only laughs. But we would go in the store and the toys were, anything was like not aligned correctly on the shelf, things like big in the store. I think it's a little closer to mine. I don't think it's, I think it's more choices.
Look at choices.
He was gonna think about what he could have been doing, but Bobby has to.
No, I'm pretty much the same. I'm not sure if his always last. But I know his E is first. I'm pretty confident that his E is first. Again, he lives in the here and now. He acts before he thinks.
Go to the digital training platform, read me the E likes and tell me what he is based on your top. Can we do that real quick? And just tell me, because you may answer Mark's question through something that we've already given you, even though he's only 7. What do you see in him that we've given you?
So again, he focuses on the here and now. He makes really fast decisions. He wants results. He wants to move right now. He does not want to be controlled. He doesn't want anybody telling him what to do or making him do something out of the sequence that he's determined.
What are E dislikes? Look at E dislikes. Hold it, wait a minute. Hold on. Yes, but wait. E dislikes, Bobby, read that.
Being controlled, he doesn't like rigid rules and policies. He for himself. He hates boredom. He doesn't want to do any school homework.
So there's some Y on their list. Okay, JD, go ahead.
He wants someone with him all the time. He wants to be around people all the time.
Which could be an indicator of a second letter. Hold on, Jeff.
As an E, I've always, without knowing the sequence, I've always loved quick wins. And for a soccer game, to sit there and watch a soccer game is the most boring thing in the world. But like a tennis match, that's like go, go, go. I love that, so quick wins for me as an E is just a beautiful thing.
So I think this is great. And certainly there are differences in temperament, and understanding those can help us have a more harmonious relationship. And so it's really helpful to figure that out. At the same time, some of our temperaments veer towards destructive and sinful things. And so I think we need to hold maturing in parallel with this. It's not just, the end is not, let's see if we can fit together without ever correcting one another, without growing at all. We also have room to grow, and we're sinners and messed up people. So.
Okay, good.
That's an excellent point. And that's what we were so concerned about as parents with Brianna, because we saw her tendencies moving in the other direction that we thought that helped. What we didn't realize is that the very techniques that we were trying to use to influence her were actually pushing her in the we're working really hard to be good parents to protect her, and what we were actually doing was causing more harm because of her sickness. And the way we were going about trying to save or protect her, we were pushing her further away, down the path we did not want to go.
So very the thing they were trying to do, it ended up happening too, right? So we have a 2-hour,
Sounds like something Paul would say.
we have a 2-hour video of Brianna right now that we did a Q&A with that we're putting together, future to hear both sides of the story, because that's another perspective that's really good to tell the whole story. So
Because
anyway,
Brianna understands this. She wants to learn it and go teach other people, so they don't face the same things that she faced, and they don't face with their parents or their loved ones the same thing that she did. Not because she was trying to be harm, just because she's just acting out of her.
No, I think a Bible verse from a Christian perspective that really comes to mind with all this. That I've been thinking about. I don't have the reference off the top of my head, but sorry, ours. But it's from Proverbs. But he that is often reproved will harden his neck and will be cut off suddenly, and that without remedy. And I think that's sort of what we're getting at here. We want to correct, but we want to do it in such a way so that we're not constantly, so that the whole relationship isn't marked by reproving. So we want to be able to understand, come alongside, so that we can instruct in an acceptable way so that they don't harden their neck in rebellion, and then we lose them. And then that relationship is at best burn damaged goods, but it's something salvageable. So I think it's a biblical concept that we're sort of talking about, and obviously sin has to be addressed, but how we go about it absolutely makes a huge difference. Everything from that to, you who are spiritual, restore somebody, in that spirit of meekness. And so I think the meekness is also trying to put aside whether your positional authority or your superiority or your education, whatever it may be, right? And so in that spirit of meekness, let me try to understand and hear the whole matter before I answer it, and try to restore that person so that it actually bears fruit as opposed to just compliance.
So we're in full agreement. Just the thing that I either missed or was presumed by all was that growth is also necessary. It's not just a matter of us getting our different temperaments in sync and then we're done. But there's also legitimate issues and growth that needs to happen. And so I didn't hear, or I didn't realize that growth was presumed. So that's why I brought that up. Not to say that getting temperaments in sync doesn't matter. Absolutely matters, but so does that.
good. Good, Jeff.
Yeah, just to speak to that. Yeah, again, we're not trying to present you with hey, here's a silver bullet to consider. And so we're just trying to help with the connection and strengthen those relationships to better lives and save lives. And so, yeah, so this is not the comprehensive solution by any stretch. We're just trying to get after the connection piece.
Question for Rebecca. So, question for Rebecca. How did you get to the point where you were willing to be wrong? Or you were willing to allow your child to be wrong? Because, right, like your way is the right way, for one. And then number two, you're the mother. And so you're the authority figure and you need to learn obedience and you need to, all those other issues. So how did you get to the point where you're like, you know what? Like what happened in you where you were willing to have the child be wrong for the sake of the child, your relationship with your child, as opposed to trying to demand the right way because it's the right way?
That's a loaded question. It's a daily thing, especially now with our home. But God willing, and for another hobby, just like, so what do you want? What kind of relationship do you want with your daughters? And I'm like, well, I'd like it to be better than being a mom. He said, well, this is not gonna, you're not getting there. You're setting yourself the same way you do want. And, all my life, I wanted them to feel the way I loved it. So, I don't know if it's kind of been evolving, especially the last several years, in how I approach it. And I didn't do so well with the girls growing up, but I felt like really better on and it really doesn't matter. He and I are not enemies. We have a common enemy. And he and I are on the same team. I have to remember that he and I are on the same team. And he's not an enemy. Hopefully that relationship will continue. There are some things that, as I've grown older, I'm tired and just based on what it's just not right. I'd much rather. I'm sorry.
Just call it wisdom, not wisdom.
Wisdom, yeah, life experiences. So I think part of that is just, it doesn't matter what they make the bed, they need to not make the bed. My other 3 girls, like 2 of them, are grown, they got married, they were living on their own, they were raised, it didn't matter, they came down to the end of the graduate from school and college. It's different, but they made A's or B's or C's.
That's right. I agree with that.
They're living their lives, and I actually met them, so they lived till they got out of the house. The things like, so I think just trying not to take myself so seriously. Probably a big part of that, even though I was aggravated, because it would make it about before I didn't think about my varsity team. We teased them out for varsity teams like this. And now we know why. But it also makes me remember that when I try to, when I'm approaching people or they're approaching me, just that. Is it a state problem or is it a problem?
I think Josh had the right answer. You know, what was your original question? You said, when you're wrong, I was like, that didn't even compute. You know what happened?
All right, good. Let's look at these last 3 types of conflict within the core framework. So we have similar first position letters, OR, OR. We have controlling letters, and then we have opposite sequences. So similar first 2 letters, CE, CE. So if you had to guess husband, wife, I do believe that people who are similar marry. Okay. We have a Patrick's RORO. So I don't believe that all people who are married are opposites attract. They're similar. So here's an example. So let's just review really quick. These head or heart letters. Heart, double heart, right? They're both double heart. True story. So they came for me for a counseling session, and they had money problems. Is that any surprise to you guys? Now, you may say, well, Rob, every couple has money problems, and not all couples have money problems either. But anyway, This one, probability, does. Okay? And if I ended up filling the sequence out, would they have money problems even more now, right? Do they miss payments? They could. Now auto is good because you can just auto pay, but do they auto pay? Right? So they came to me for one. I was a chaplain, active duty. They came to see me. So gave them assessment. This is what their first two letters were. Does this couple have conflict? Similar letters have conflict. So they were about to be divorced. So I don't want you to think that it's only opposite letters, first letter, last letter. Similar letters can also have conflict. So say, hey, let's meet next week one more time. And they didn't show up. Now, I wasn't surprised that they may be what? Late. Not a surprise to me. I'm good with that. I deal with probabilities. So if they're late, I'm doing something until they show up. They don't show up. 30 minutes goes by, an hour goes by, they don't show up. And long story short, I didn't know it. One of their leaders allowed them to leave for 2 or 3 days, and they went to go on like a little mini vacation. I thought they had money problems. So how does this couple deal with conflict? And they go what? Have fun together. So it's like short-term relief. But when they come back, we spent more money, there's more conflict. And so they literally, did they call me and say, hey, we're going on this little mini vacation, chaplain? They called me like, hey, we're not going to be there? Forgot.
Or didn't want to hear you say you probably.
So they're divorced today. Yeah. So I need you to understand similar letters have conflict. Anybody in your squad have similar letters as you? You guys look it up. Okay? Okay, are you OC?
Yeah, we're both OC.
Okay, so I'm just going to give you an example of me and my daughter. We're both OC. Now, with what you've learned thus far, where would we connect? I've sort of talked a little bit about this, but what are some of the areas that we connect in our lives as dad and daughter? Huh? Family? The way we make choices, if we go shop, are we both efficient? Huh?
Regimented.
Yeah. Are we on time together? Yeah, we're really screwed up as a family, right? I really liked COVID on Sunday because I didn't have to go to a service. Yes. But going to a service with 2 O's and an O third, O fourth, does that cause us problems as a family? When it's COVID, you can, if you miss 11, you can start at 11:20 and you're good, right? We never had conflict during COVID service because we could start it whenever we wanted to. Yeah. But what would our issues be? If I'm rigid and bossy, what could Ceci be? Huh? The same. So could I end up controlling somebody who doesn't like to be controlled? Yeah. And that's our conflict. So I've given up my belief, good or bad, people can sharpshoot me, that even though I'm the parent, I'm in the end game. My end game is that I want my grandkids at the table with me. And if I have that, I'm wanting my kids to be at the table with me because they want to, not because they have to. That's my end game. And I want to connect.
I mean, you talk about connection, but you also talk about self-awareness. And ever since you've been in the class, you talk about that awareness. Not only awareness of self, but awareness of each other. So understanding where the conflict lies.
Hold on. I've been teaching Ceci this since she was 8.
Yeah, as I was saying, that self-awareness piece is very important to be in tune with yourself and be in tune with others. So knowing where the conflict lie, right? Is it possible, like you say, you just kind of given up and gave her the control, so
do.
you can? But isn't it possible?
Not all the time, because go back to Jeff's comment, is there some times where I have to sort of like draw a line to say, hey, Ceci, this is, yeah, I do that. But if I did that to Ceci every day, we would have cracks. That's what I believe. And that's what I believe in parenting my 18. I know my 18-year-old. I've been with her 18 years. Right?
And not to step on your toes,
You're
right?
not.
So a belief is something that can be tested, right, through observation. And sometimes the things that we think we know, those are the things that we don't know. And that's, I'm not saying that you don't know your daughter.
No, I didn't. I wasn't talking to you. Just
Okay.
No,
So
no.
what I'm saying is understanding that both of you guys are OCs,
Yes,
and you understand where the problem lie,
yes.
and you can understand those problems.
Yeah.
Why is it that anybody have to back down? Why is it can't you
It's a
guys?
give and take.
Okay, I'll buy that for $1.
It's worth it for you.
No, it's just the way you said it, like, you
No,
know,
no, no.
kind of.
No. So it's a give and take. So sometimes, let's go to Jeff's point. Sometimes there's some things that I need to teach Ceci. Some things I'm saying, hey, you may need to just learn on your own. And I'll come back and say, how'd you do? Right? So there's this give and take with OC, me being OC and her being OC. That's really different than my other daughter, right, who's RC. I parent her way different. So I'm just trying to show the type of conflict that when you have similar letters, it creates a different type of conflict, and you just need to be aware of it. Okay? The conflict that you have with a CECE, do they like to address conflict? No. So does that create conflict? Yes. So if sometimes you're better off having a CE with an OR because one would address conflict and the other doesn't. So we don't want to teach that, hey, just marry somebody who's similar and everything's good. That is not what we're saying. It's going to create another type of conflict for you that you need to be aware of. And I just want you to pay attention to that. Okay? ORs, if you're married to an OR and an OR, like if Darren was married to an OR, and I don't know if he is, they would fight over control of some form. Because both people like things the way they like them. So that would be a type of conflict. And you could end up seeing that play out. Any questions about that? Yeah. Controlling letters. So we teach the most controlling letters in order is EROC. And I want you to look up your digital training platform. Okay? We're trying to give you the information in your digital training platform. So go to your digital training platform, look at the description at the bottom of this slide. And some of you, we've already given you the information, and we want you to use it. Okay? We believe that every letter has a form of control. Okay? So everybody go to your letter tool, pull up control. Are you there? Control. Do you guys, everybody, help the person next to you make sure they are. You there?
Is this your word for when people are stressed, control?
No. Not necessarily.
I'm having trouble
Processing it.
understanding what you mean by control when I think of control.
Okay.
And then I see these words, and it's like when I'm stressed, or if my way, if my thing isn't working.
So
Like
an O person could end up doing these things.
when what?
Just normal.
Okay.
For you, it's in your first letter.
So it's not, is it related to perception?
No, it's
Or
just
this is
relating to
me?
the letter itself. So for you, your OR. So these are the things that, the forms of control that you could do in your first position. I'm tracking. So did you guys hear? Did you guys hear what I said? OR. So Darren, what did I just tell you? Explain to the class what I just told you.
That these words under the control tab are what I'm going to do,
Uh-huh. The way that,
regardless of what people are perceiving of me.
correct. In your first two letters. So everybody look at O, and look at R. So if you're OR, so Josh and Darren are OR, what we're saying is that you can do this naturally. Would you agree with that, Josh? So look at EO. Everybody look at EO. This is Yukon. Okay. So Yukon's EO. So Yukon read E and then read O.
E, defiant, resists authority, mainly overt resistance, but can be covert as well.
And
Tell
O.
people how and what to do, autocratic, impersonal.
I'm not saying he's always that way. I'm just trying to say every letter has some type of control to it. You guys have grown up in the counseling world, so we always hear this passive-aggressive word that we all understand, right? But is Josh passive-aggressive and it's an OR position? No, not at all. Yes. Yes.
By control, you mean they get their way in a relationship?
Just the way, as a, I believe that the O and the R does these things so that they can stay in control. Okay?
Okay, that makes sense to me.
Okay.
So this is how I maintain control of my world.
It is.
It will look like this when
Yes.
I am in my OR comfortably.
Yes. But if you're out of that, which we're leading to, that goes
And it
away.
gets into the negative perceptions, or which not
Yeah.
perceptions. That's what I can do. I
That's
can
what-
be rigid and control.
It's correct.
Not flexible. Like, this is staying right here.
Correct. Yeah.
I was just having trouble.
No, it's good. It's good questions.
Compartmentalizing the word control because it means,
Meant different things.
yeah.
You got any questions, Jeff? Oh, yeah, okay. So remember these letters. So what we also are saying is that we believe that E is the most controlling letter. And then we have R. Then we have O. We have C. So if you look at Tim's sequence, do you understand why I say that this sequence is one of the least controlling sequences based on the fact I'm giving you here? Because what's the least controlling letter? And what's his first letter? What's the second least controlling letter? It's his second letter. So I'm laying some information down to you. So let's make some application. So in the first position, who is more controlling in the first position? The wife. Okay. Control's not always negative. Somebody has to do it. Okay? Sometimes it's the way that we try to control, depending on who we're with. No, I don't believe so. It could be, but I don't always believe that's always synonyms.
Okay. So, okay, just continue.
So let's
then
just
I'll
take,
decide.
so I'll come back to you, Rebecca, on that one. So I'm just trying to let you look at this. If you're getting two people who come, that just gives you some insight. That's all that we're trying to do, give you some insight. Maybe how to ask a question.
So these two people right here.
What about this? How about an E6 and a private? Sometimes in the Army, we look at the rank, but based on this, who's in the first two letters, who would be more controlling in what we're just trying to present to you right now, the private or the E6? Private. How about this? The daughter. The dad could have the position of authority, but that doesn't mean that he's more controlling than the daughter. I believe his daughter is. Okay. There was a video that I did not play in modules 1 through 10 that I want to play for you right now about a dad and a daughter. So the setup for the first 30 seconds is sort of out of touch right now, but it goes along with these two CORO that I use in the video module. So I want to play it for you right now. And I want you to just hear the story of a CO dad with an RO daughter. Yeah, and I think we put the letters in the video. So Joe.
So we're learning that there's things that you like and things that you don't like. And so what we want to really teach you here is that we really want you to stay away from what people don't like. The family, I have learned, is the only place where you have to stay around the people that you don't like. So I tell people, hey, you can love them but not really like your family. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. So if you think about it, people you work with, if you really get to the point where you don't like your team, you probably leave, right? Your friends, you usually don't hang out with people that you don't like over time. The military may be a place where you have to work with people that you don't like, at least for 2 years, then you're ready for them to leave, right? So your family is that place where it matters a lot that every day you do what they like versus what they don't like. So I'll give you an example. There was a dad, his sequence was COER, and his daughter's sequence was ROEC. So what that means is that the dad is loving, kind, caring. He wants people to be kind and caring to him. And his youngest child, he had 3 boys, and he's always wanted a daughter, and he finally had a daughter. And he thought that because she was a daughter that she would be kind and caring and loving. But with our sequences, we believe that's not always true because it's not gender driven. The reality is, as I've said earlier, his daughter was ROEC, who's not really kind, who's not caring. At least she doesn't want to show emotion a lot of times, right? Not big huggers. And for the ones of you in the room, that's probably true for you. But we have a dad who needs that. And so an ROEC sequence is also a controlling sequence in the sense they just like to be in their own space. They need to do it their way. But her dad ended up being a very kind, caring, loving man, and to the point where he would end up forcing hugs and forcing affection from this daughter that she didn't naturally do. So over time, he continued to do things that she didn't like. Well, that's true for the daughter. The daughter, as she was in her teenage years and her young adult years, began to do things that he didn't like. And that means that she could be blunt, she could be to the point. The way that she said things sort of rubbed him wrong. And so their relationship really, in many ways, was built upon things that neither of them liked because they were just themselves. And so one day I was talking to this dad, and I was reading their assessment to them, and I began to tell him, hey, and at this time, she was in her early 20s, this is the way that you parented your daughter, and this is what your daughter needed from you. And at that moment, he just began to break down and began to cry because it was sort of a core moment for him where he realized that for years and years and years, he saw his parenting in a way that maybe I did things to my daughter that she really didn't do. Until this day, their relationships, from my perspective, is not stable. They're really both working at it, but there's been so much water under the bridge that's created some real problems for them. And so what we want you to do is really practically every day with the people that you live with the people that you work with, to do things that they like according to their sequence and stay away from those things that they don't like. And if you do that, we believe that you will have better connection, not only with your people at work, but also with your family. So even though you don't like them, we at least want you to love them, but we really want you to love them and like them. So do what they like.
That. Don't hear me say that. Okay? But that belief that he had was part of the choices that he made as well. Okay? But he was forcing his daughter to hug and love him, and she naturally didn't like it. That's my dad and my sister. My dad's been a pastor a long time. That was my dad that broke down and just cried. And I'm now saying, hey, man, we got all these people who have all these like deep religious beliefs and deep things, and we're just missing in so like many practical ways. Like we're just missing it. 3 boys, 1 girl. He always wanted to have a girl. He finally got it. And she wasn't C first. She was C last. But does my dad, you want that, right? You want love and hug and whatever. And my daughter, my sister grew up in a good home, good environment, right? They continued to miss. Joe, I want to cut what I said out at the end of this video, but about my dad and mom. But I wanted to tell you that, right? Just missed. We're working it. They know what I teach. My sister knows what I teach. We're trying like, how do we put it back together? There's hope. There's hope for you and your son. Right? So, type of conflict, CORO. Who was more controlling, the daughter or the dad in first position? My sister. Absolutely. She was almost you. So one more and we'll take a break. Opposite sequences. This is the last type of conflict. This is the most conflict 2 people can have, naturally. Now, it doesn't mean all relationships who have opposite sequences have conflict. Let me rephrase that. They do have conflict, but it doesn't mean they don't need to be together as a team or as a couple. So don't hear me say that. We just end up saying they got to really understand themselves, know the other, the recon part, and then, hey, where are the conflicts that we're going to have? Because if you play this opposite sequence out, they move opposite all the way through, which we're going to get into movement in the next couple of modules. Okay? So is it hard for these people to naturally do what you like, stay away from what you don't like, just naturally? Is that hard for these 2 sequences to do? Okay, so here's what I want you to do. On your piece of paper, I want you to write down your opposite sequence. Because everybody has an opposite sequence. Now look in your squad. Is there anybody in your squad that is the opposite sequence in you? This is Rebecca and Brianna. Rebecca's at the top. Brianna's at the bottom. Mama's trying to be Brianna's on the top, Rebecca's on the bottom. Mama's trying to be OR, teach her children responsibility, be in control. Here's the plan. It's really good. It's efficient. I'm trying to help you. And I have this E letter like, no, I don't want to, right? Hey, Mama, just come and play with me. Play's E. With me is C. So so who is more control in the first position, the OR or the EC?
Together, OR.
Together, OR, even though that E's most controlling. So in that first position, is there a fight over a type of control? Because that first primary letter is like, I don't want you to tell what to do, and that OR's right there, okay? So anybody in your squad that's opposite of you, you do? Okay. You don't have to tell me who it is. Oh, I know who it is. Huh? Oh, you got two. ORCE? Okay, so can you talk coworker or whatever? Okay, all right. So this is JD, and this is coworker. Sorry, JD, I started. So what could the conflict be as a class? Before JD tells us, with what we've learned, so now we're beginning to sort of put all of these things together a little bit. This coworker is somebody that you are over or just a peer?
We're both captains, but he did come to see me for marriage counseling.
Okay.
So I was very engaged in caring for him and his wife.
Where's the box? Cube. Where's the cube?
So the coworker who had marriage issues came to see me probably after about a year or two after a year of knowing me, but of thinking I need help. So when he came to me, I was excited about engaging right away. So met with him and his wife and kind of came up with a plan to execute some of this. And then I've seen him randomly, but he's not engaged in a third meeting or so. So I don't know if that's a conflict, but it's just what's going on that you don't want to do the follow-up. So
Yeah, I don't know. It's a big deal that shows up. I think I said that to you yesterday personally.
Huge.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Yeah.
So a little bit of the sequence. JD make very quick decision. So when that person came to him for the counseling, he might not have thought a lot of things through, but that person thinks things through. You know what I mean? So it might take a little bit more time for whatever JD said to that person for them to really grasp it. And if you look, C's in the second position. So that natural care, right, on JD's part. But again, that OR person is very meticulous. He let him in, but he have to really, go line by line to ensure whatever message you gave him was received. So it's not about the session. Maybe it's taken, longer for that person to connect when JD's easier to connect. He's very impulsive and caring. You got to make quick decisions. The person E is in the last position, so that person is not really firing off like JD.
Cool. Okay. I'll come back and talk to you and him tomorrow. So, Michael, will you make a point I said that. I'd like to come back and talk this piece. Darren, did you have anybody in your squad? You don't have to talk about it, but.
I have an opposite in my squad.
Okay. So that opposite would be,
My neighbor here. We are.
okay. ORCE and MG, your EC. Yeah.
I'm an EC.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah. What could the conflict be? Let's not say it's Darren MG. Let's just hypothetically say it.
One is more caring than the other.
Okay? Could be, yes. Does that mean we're saying Darren's not caring?
No, it's just harder for him to be lovey-dovey.
Harder for him to show that he cares in a CE way. You're loyal to your own people, right, Darren? Okay. What else could be the conflict here with opposite sequences? That's one. Yep.
Well, I actually have
Hold.
a gentleman I work with.
Oh, you do? You want to use that?
Direct opposite me.
Okay.
And we had some, I didn't know we had conflict,
You
but I
didn't-
found myself in the middle of the conflict.
Oh, great. All right. Good.
Dude, I just roll with it. I just roll with it. I'm like, I ain't gonna.
He didn't see it. All right.
I'm a-
So share that.
So there I am in Afghanistan, and yeah,
There he was.
and
Everybody say there he was.
so I'm traveling from AP Lightning to Fobbed Wire. Or no, Dalkey, my bad, Dalkey. I'm trying to go over the mountains to get to this place. In the middle of winter, there's a foot of ice and snow out, and air travel's less than reliable. So I didn't get to ring ahead, and I'm bad about that, like being organized in that manner to let people know I'm getting there.
Hey,
Yeah,
hold on. I'm just going to pause. I'm Mira. He's 0-0, right?
Yep.
So sometimes he just admitted, hey, that's something I don't do well. Go ahead. I just
So
want to show that.
I don't plan. I fly by the seat of my pants.
So you didn't tell me you were coming to my patrol base,
I didn't tell you that, and you're
and you show up at the airfield.
an S3 Sergeant Major.
Ooh, that's a bad day.
Yeah, and I show up and I'm like, no worries, I'll walk where I need to go. I don't need anybody to pick me up. I got my own 2 feet. But they got to be organized with where they put people. And
Darren's
in fact, he's a 10. My Sergeant Major, he's a 10 on the head
You're a
side.
future bird dog.
He's a 10 on the head side.
I'm looking at Darren's face. Darren's like,
He
What?
is insulted that I have not abided by the communication that he's, used to, and the systems that I might say he's overthought them for where he puts people. And there are many layers that are unnecessary. So he made it a point of putting me out in the frozen tundra as far away as possible in these tents that like the heat just was horrible. And it's cold. I mean, it's like negative. It's like we're into the negatives here, like it doesn't get above freezing even during the day, and at night it's like, it's like Hoth for you Star Wars fans out there. But yeah, so his reaction to my, 0
Yeah.
is to basically, I guess, punish me. Like
Teach
that's
you a
it.
lesson?
Yeah, teach me a lesson.
so what happened after that?
I just
You
roll
adjust
with it.
fire, or you just like, hey?
I roll with it, and I try to give him some kind of heads up the next time I was coming through, so I didn't have to stay in the worst place ever.
Did he put you in the worst place ever again, or when you called,
No,
he got
he
you
put me
something
in
better?
good places after that. Put me in good places.
So it worked.
I think it worked. I think he probably felt bad.
No.
After
No.
And I didn't-
wait, no.
Yeah. Oh,
Hey, Darren, he didn't feel bad, did he?
No.
he
No,
didn't feel bad.
no. No, that's what you would feel if you'd have done that. He was really teaching you a OR, and that's why Darren said,
Or maybe it was full. Maybe that was the overflow.
Could be.
Hey, you didn't give me a heads up.
that's right, could be.
All the beds are here. You got this tent over here. Sucks to be you. Go live out there. Give me a heads up next time. I will reserve you a bed. Maybe, I don't know.
It's hypothetical here. We're just assuming and guessing, but.
I'm giving him.
Well, you
the
just go ahead and make excuses for him if you want to.
No, great. That's a great example. That's great example, right? I mean, that's what we're talking about with opposite sequence. We just naturally could end up creating conflict with just being ourselves. And we miss. Okay? Yep. And then we're going to take a 5-minute break after he's done.
Being the ORC, I'm a little embarrassed to say this, but it, just kind of dawned on me after listening to this for a few times now and being a little numb to it. But, you said this is the worst or most conflicted situation with the opposite. And of course, naturally your mind says, okay, opposite, it makes sense. But, it's because you've got the first letter, last letter twice.
Yep.
And then you've got the whole perception thing going on. You've got the control thing going on. You've got the first 2 letter, last 2 letters. So
Going on.
kind of the, 6 or 7 types of the 8
Conflict.
that we've covered are encapsulated in that opposite sequence.
Cool. Yeah.
So that was just a,
Core
yeah,
moment.
it wasn't super deep, but I
No,
guess
that's-
that's as deep as I get.
No, that's right. We just put 7 into 1 layer. So if you have a commander sergeant major, if you have a company commander first sergeant that's opposite, are we saying, hey, there's some probability I can help you? Bring some framework, bring some understanding. Hey, this is how it's going to work. What if you had a sergeant major with a first sergeant who was opposite? Could you advise that first sergeant, like, hey, here's your sergeant major. Here's some things you need to do. Give some advisement. Parent, child, husband, wife, whatever the relationship, principal, teacher, right? Whoever that is. How about sister? Are you the one that said they were opposites or somebody? That was Rebecca, right? Sister, brother, it takes place. Okay, let's take about an 8-minute break. It's going to be a real 8. Okay, it's 14:04. I'm going to start back at 14:12. All right, let's take a break. Darren, I know you got to leave. You'll miss the. Get back with me, and I'll try to walk.
At the bottom of a heartbreak. Sometimes I think that if I climbed that hill, I wouldn't need to come down. Sometimes it's so high that we cannot feel. We'll never know. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to say. I'm feeling trapped in escape. Yeah, I wanna be wrong. I wish I could change. There's nowhere to go. You feel safe at the bottom of a heartbreak. At the bottom of a heartbreak. Tear it down. All my childhood gave. I'm gonna wake
Hey, for everybody
up.
over there, did you hear that? And then instead of you having to repeat it.
Either
And is this
repeat it
a
or run
wireless
over
charger?
Yes, that's a wireless charger.
Okay, that's what I figured.
Yeah, so if I having to repeat it or run over there.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, man, I have done, I don't know how, different trainings. I was like,
I definitely want to. And there's also kind of energy moments, I think. I forgot what day it was, but far end of
We can decide if we are falling.
touchdowns.
yes, like
Yeah.
Because every single call is a change.
Yeah, yeah.
Realize with this pain.
she hasn't done things
on the fate of our circumstance.
Bad thing, but on the flip side,
We've been living minute to minute. We've been holding on to it.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great addition.
Somehow our hearts are still in it, but all our innocence is left. We're in for nasty weather. And I'll ride it out with you.
And it's artificial.
We won't be riding highs and lows like tides of ocean blue.
yeah, and it's also kind of like you have the,
We won't be here forever. Just a moment, then we're through. We can be shifting with the sands like seasons always do.
Yeah.
Like seasons always do. Everything we said was a reason for us to pick up our things and go. But even when we climbed up the mountain, we knew that we had nowhere to go. We're in for nasty weather, and I'll ride it out with you. We won't be riding highs and lows like tides of ocean blue. We won't be here forever. Just a moment, then we're through. We can be shared.